Hello everybody, the Lord Roots here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program, rather. So you can see I've got the new, highly coveted Point 22 update that we've all been waiting for. So I figured today, instead of working on our Mooner base, we're going to create a career mode game. So it's already selected here. We'll select the standard flag that we used in the last one. I think that's it anyway. And we'll say, we'll call this I has career. And so, this mode is radically different. I was just talking to somebody about this. They're like, well, you play KSP a lot. Have you done everything in it? And I'm like, no, but the new patch has like certainly changed things. And you can see here we have a new building. That's our R&D center. But you'll be really surprised when we go into this VAB because our VAB happens to have been downsized just a little bit. We'll just wait for this to load. It is a little bit more sluggish, but you can see now we only have the one capsule. We have for propulsion SRB's the non-gimbaled liquid fuel engine and regular fuel tanks. We have no control, one structural pylon, no aerodynamic surfaces, and a parachute, and our communicatron. So that's one of the things I'm going to show y'all first of all is how to get science. And it turns out that there's a lot of good science to be done on Kerbin. We don't need subassemblies quite yet, so we will just create this guy here and we'll launch him. And so, I guess the deal with this little guy is we have no batteries, so power management is um incredibly essential. So we could take a crew report, and that's worth 1.5. Now we can send it back with 100% fidelity this way. We can also um, take another crew report. If you go up here, I've used about 30 units of of you know of things. I guess of power, 30 units of power. So we can't really send anything more. So you might think, well, why don't we just end the mission? But it turns out we can actually get out on the surface as well. And what we can do is we can first of all get Jeb's EVA report, which is worth 2.4. And that's kind of nice. I'll just let go real quick. Uh, Physics seems to be acting a little bit weird. We can also take a sample of the surface. So you'll notice here that we have some 30% or 50% transmission loss. That means that if we could transmit and we can't because that would that would be bad if we could. I don't even know why we can't do that. There we go. We can just walk around a bit. I think that's about the extent that we can do. But if we go in here and we board and end the mission by recovering our vessel, then we will have collected about 13 units of science. And so, that's really nice. Or rather, it's 12 units. Because, because of that, we can now go to this R&D building and get some of the things we really, really need. Like, for instance, a decoupler. There's also a mystery goo containment unit, and we have some slimline rocket parts as well. We can do a lot of things with this. We can do control surfaces or stability, which would be nice. And we can also do survivability, which will lead us to batteries. And we can finally do general rocketry. These are all worthwhile things to do, but I'm going to shoot for stability so that we can get into orbit. Because it's worth it to us if, if we take various, various things and, transmit them. So we're going to, go ahead, and we will, we'll just build a small, a small unit for collecting our, I guess our science. And what we can do now is we can take this thing. I'll put 2 antennae right here, and I will create a mechanism for us to get as much science out of this as we can. And you might ask, well, how do we do that? Well, there's a number of ways we can actually achieve this. One of the ways with this decoupler is to make a suborbital flight. And so that's one possibility right there. We're going to be depending a lot on our power to get us up, so our rocket power. So what we'll do is we will put down this stage here, and we'll attach several SRBs to it. This will give us more than enough power to do what we want to. And I'm also going to go over here real quick. I'm going to add some more parachutes to this thing because we don't want, or I guess we can only add it to the top. So maybe parachutes should be a good investment. But at any rate, we'll call this our first shot. We'll go through, tweak the action groups a bit. And what we're going to do here is observe the mystery goo, which will give us our data. Maybe if we click on our capsule, we'll get a thing to discard our reports as well. But in particular, this will be nice for us. What we'll do is we'll take a sample on the launch pad, and as we are moving upwards, we will collect as much data as we can. So if we hit 1, this has a scientific value of 3. We'll just keep all of this for right now. And really, I guess we could transmit it. At some loss, we only get, 50%. So let me try, I guess, resetting the SKU container just to see what it'll do. If we review the data, or not review the data, but if we go here instead and we reset this, and we do this now, we're going to get 3.0. And so it might be worth our while to just go ahead and transmit that. Unfortunately, that's not going to help us much, because we've already got more or less yeah, we'll redo this, see how far up we can get. We don't have much in the way of actual data. And I probably should not have bothered transmitting that data. Nor should I have. I should have changed, see, revert to launch. We'll do that. I'll just put that thing in another action group, as it should be. So we'll forego that for now until we have a better idea of, how to approach this. We're going to grab our data at the best opportunity possible. So there we go. We'll just we'll get this thing up to the point to where we get into a orbital trajectory. And generally, you wouldn't design a rocket this way, but on the flip side, it is very, whoa, that was not expected. And why is our engine not firing? We'll just activate engine right here. And so we're getting pretty high up. We won't get into orbit, it doesn't look like. But what we want to do is we want to max out these things. And that may have questionable scientific value for us. But on the other hand, we will get at least we'll transmit this crew report right here, because we get 100 out of it. It never hurts to transmit the crew report. When we get up to our apoapsis, what we'll do is we'll take another report and bring it back down to us, or bring it back down to Earth rather. And that will be happening fairly shortly. Let's see. There's nothing really new here. I imagine when we are in space, that will change. So, we're almost officially in space. I bet you, yeah, that'll give us the full data now. And so we will have enough for, more in the way of our data. So I'm going to bring this thing down just a shade and hope that we have enough parachute strength to bring us down. You might ask why we're not doing this other data, and that's because, well, we have first of all, what is it, 48 or so, 42 science already coming in from that goo. The most we can get out of it is 10. But when you're in your orbit, it makes sense, and we can't really we can transmit that data. Well, let's see the crew report. Maybe we would have gotten something out of that. But we do want to focus on a few things. We want to first of all focus on survivability. Should be nice to have. And survivability takes precedence, I think, over the other extreme end. And of course, we want the control surfaces as well. So we'll just we'll just let this thing come on through the atmosphere and use that old trick of, since we're over the water, um, let it get down to about 1,000 or so. But it will slow down dramatically. Well, it's slow down enough is the question. We're about to find out. It will, in fact, slow down enough for us to retain our data. But we probably will lose an engine in the process. It's going to be okay because survivability will give us more parachutes. We could actually put these things up into orbit to account for the, low impact tolerance. So we have our data, which is nice. We'll recover our vessel. And I hope that means that we got our science back. It does not, but I think we can go here since our things fell off. We can take our debris. We can recover that and get everything back. And we should, in principle, have enough to get us where we want to go with this. So far so good. Um, One thing I do want to mention, by the way, is that this does not, it looks like we gathered quite a deal less science than we needed to, which means we need to focus on parachutes next time. Um, but I was going to say we now go to R&D and get those essentials, right? We can get, well, for instance, this basic, or this stability, which will help us a ton. It'll give us control surfaces so we can easily move about. That will give us flight control, which we need for, um, batteries. But next we're going to get science tech, and that requires 45 science. When we do that, we'll get our batteries. Those are probably the most important things to have. Aside from that, we could do general construction, which is nice because it'll give us, it'll give us, our, our basic, you know, things we need to get up into orbit. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to, add, first of all, parachute. And this will be nice for us, to do, because these things do not take up much room at all. We'll take, our communicatron. We'll double it over here so that, we don't have stability issues. Let's take, in addition to this, let's create our 2 parachutes. Here, we're going to have, a small engine. That may actually benefit us to, we go with the larger one, but it'll be cool for now. We'll put down a stacked coupler. We'll add an engine here, I think. And then we'll go to our thingy here, and we'll throw down enough for 2 stages. This will be, I think, enough to get us into orbit, if I'm not mistaken. Now, we can't do asparagus staging yet, but what we can do is we can levy our decouplers, and what we'll do there is we will we'll bring these things down like that. And one more thing that'll make this rocket a little bit easier to control is we have aerodynamic surfaces now. As far as I know, the nose cones are still, they're still pretty, useless. But that'll be okay for us. Now, eventually we'll want to design these things to be recoverable. And of course, I guess I need to put science on here as well. And we'll go with a whopping, a whopping 8 science modules for there. We'll take this thing and we'll use 4 parachutes, and I think I'm gonna add 4 more to this. And we'll take these modules here, we'll pack it as tightly as we can. And we will, you know what, I'm gonna actually, well no, we already took the stuff during the launch, so what we'll do here is we'll set this guy down here so we generate energy. And I think it would be best if we went ahead and set up our action groups now. So we'll set this guy to toggle or to observe the mystery goo, and we will go ahead and get this show on the road, with the hope being that we might recover this in one piece. I'm thinking we will because we have those parachutes here, so let's go ahead and launch. And here we might get an orbital trajectory, we might not. An orbital trajectory would be nice. In fact, I'm going to go back and save that real quick. Consequently, this is going to be what we're going to be using for our thingy. Nathan and I are swap a save. We'll call this second shot. Oh, so we are having to make slight alterations to that. There's no money in the game, of course, so we can't tie a plug-in into that, but you know what we'll do? We'll get up into orbit. I'm just going to take, looks like we're a little bit wobbly here. We'll take a report. We'll send it back, even if it is very small. And we'll just bring up that electric charge. With the hope that our control surfaces will give us some degree of control, I guess. That actually needs to be up here so I don't jettison. I don't jettison my my deal. These are static winglets, I think, so we may have some difficulty getting this to work as intended. We can take another crew report while we're at it. That has scientific value, so we'll send that back. And we are a little bit top heavy. I'm hoping that we can control that. And why did that not decouple? That is really weird. But we'll just get back up here. We're not going to be in the best orbit, but can we take another crew report? And I think the answer to that is yes, we can. And we do want as much data as we can get here, and this is the time to do it because, if we don't do it here, then we will inevitably, do it elsewhere. And I don't think we're going to make it into a good orbit this time. We may get enough. I mean, this engine is a little bit more efficient than even if we are about to reach apoapsis. It looks like, though, we may have screwed the pooch on this. We'll just make a minor change here. See if we can't bring up our apoapsis just a little bit. We very likely will not get a good orbit out of this at all. If we, in fact, get any orbit. Let's take another crew report. Because we have the power. Or we don't have the power. Yes, we do want to be careful that we don't expend all of our power getting out of the atmosphere, because that would lead to an unfortunate event where, where we would not have much in the way of an ability to stay afloat. And this is going to be bad, because we can no longer deploy our chutes, which means we're going to have to make some corrections to this. Those corrections namely being, I guess us going to the vehicle assembly plant and maybe giving ourselves a little bit more in the way of fuel for this, because that certainly did help us last time. And I'll have to remember when I'm on that poodle not to overdo it. Because there is no way, I believe, that we can force ourselves to deploy that parachute. So what we're gonna do is we'll take the crew report as usual, and we will go ahead and we won't go full throttle, but we'll hope that this thing can deal with this. We'll take another crew report here, I think. We have a value of 3.5. Now that's new to us. We are going over to the coast. The unfortunate thing about this is that we're going to have to jettison Well, there we go. Oh, nice. It remembers this time your order. This is not the most optimal way to do this by any means. We do need to get control of this situation very, very, very quickly, or else we are going to have a suborbital flight. I think this is an intrinsically flawed design that we've got here. So what I'll do is, because I can't get this thing under control, I will just I'll bring this thing back. And hopefully we'll get a little bit of debris back. From that, and we'll take, since we've already got this thing out, we'll review the report and we will transmit it. Because we don't really need power anymore. We'll take our crew report one more time. In fact, we probably do have enough to where we could just continuously take reports. Except we have a poodle. That'll be fine. We'll use this one for braking. And the hope is that this will at least give us enough charge for batteries. And we should survive that very easily. I don't think there's going to be much more in the way of not surviving. But we're about to touch down, might as well brake just a little bit. Get this thing down as much as possible. As we dump hydrazine, or I guess RP1, into the ocean. So let's recover this vessel, see what we got out of it. We got plus 17 science, which is really, really nice. It's not enough for us to do much. Or maybe this method may work. I think maybe I should take off less in the way of I guess less in the way of our deal here. So we'll do a bit of a redesign, try to get this thing into orbit using You know, actually, we might do better. Well, no, we wouldn't. We would, one thing we do want to get rid of course, is, all of these, I think. I believe we have too many of these for it to be useful. And how many is too many? Well, I guess that amount is too many. We were suffering control losses earlier when we, attempted to bring this thing up. And so, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take our radial decouplers here. And I will, make us quite a fantastic vehicle for liftoff. That's not going to be... The one thing that does kind of suck about these decouplers right here is that they are kind of hard to line up. But it looks like I've done it. And they will give us a fair amount of delta V, I think. I'm just going to get rid of this part here because it's probably going to wobble if we don't do that. So, we'll take this here, and we will launch. And hopefully, you know, by the time we get up here, let's take ourselves a brief crew report. See if we get anything of value out of that. We might as well transmit it even if it is, you know, not going to be useful. So, let's go ahead, we'll be taking ourselves various... Well, you know what I forgot to do on this? I forgot to put control surfaces. That might be worthwhile. I mean, eventually, though, this thing gets to the point to where there's no point in even transmitting, from the surface. There we go. That will help us for control just a little bit. Now, if we get a fair amount of, if we get a fair amount of delta V out of this, we'll be able to go into space and really kick some ass. This, I bet you, is going to be at 0. Oh no, it's at 1. And these guys, I think, are going to be a little bit easier to control. A little bit easier to balance, too. So, now we have that. Crew report, 1.3 mits. Just get as much out of that as we can. Because if we don't, then it might be a little bit worse off for us. Now, we could attach SRBs to this, and that would help tremendously. But it looks like this is a little bit easier to control. Let's take another crew report here. And get this thing up to our gravity burn. the hope being that, you know, can we get anything out of this, I wonder? Well, the answer to me is pretty clear on this. We definitely do want to, oh no, what happened? Staging malfunction. We might as well take our goo, and we'll take a report, figure out what's going on here, deploy our parachutes, because I don't think we're going to be getting up into the atmosphere because of our stage malfunction. But hopefully, this thing will be a little bit easier to deal with. We are over the ocean a little bit. Let's discard data. And whoa, 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 too fast. Let's see if, because we're over the ocean, we do get a crew report out of it, which I'm not going to attempt to send this time. And it seems like you do get better, you know, you do get better results from, like, for instance, being over the ocean. The one difference here, I guess, is that space planes, we'll get this down just a little bit. We don't completely crash into the ocean. Figure out what was with our staging malfunction. We might even have, you know, enough data to where it might make sense for us to move forward some. Now, we could potentially go on an EVA, but I don't know that it's necessarily worth it. Not at that point. We want to go on an EVA in orbit. So let's see what went wrong here. Staging for this is, let's see, what do we have here? We have this guy here. It's our center engine. I'll bet you if we get this guy up, we can achieve the coveted batteries. And it is, in fact, possible for us to take advantage of this. So, always being mindful of the crew report. I mean, we've actually done this a little bit too much now. And one thing a mystery goo is not going to do it for us. So we'll be a little bit more efficient with our engines this time, I think. We'll discard that crew report. See if we're over the ocean. That has absolutely no value to us whatsoever, so we are going to have a glut of resources, in which case I think we need to observe the mystery goo. We do want to be careful about this control issue here, because we will run out of fuel. And it might help for us to maybe even put reaction wheels in, so it'll give us a more or less polar deal going on. Oh. We'll take this thing, we'll get it into orbit somehow, and I'm thinking we do want to be careful with this thing. See, we'll just take a crew report real quick. We do have data of scientific value, which, you know, we will avail ourselves of. Oh no, don't toggle torque. I was kind of hoping that would give us a crew report. And what happens if we do this? No data whatsoever. I guess we milked all that out with the first deal. So what's our Apo looking like? Can we get into orbit? I think the answer to this is probably yes. Yes, we can. It's going to be a very strange orbit, but we'll do it nonetheless. We do want to be careful here because we want a way to get back in. And the way I'm going to achieve that is by going way out there. And trying to find our maneuver node, because we have a lot of fuel to burn. So let's just get this guy. I'm going to assume it's a 30-second burn, at least. It's a good thing that we started here. So if we did not, then that would be bad. But we'll take our crew report. We're in space, so we need to... No, don't toggle the torque. We need to avail ourselves to the available thing. We will probably not make it. So, we're suborbital now. We do need to be careful with this, for sure. Because, we may just re-enter the atmosphere. And if we do, I will hopefully get us to the point to where that may not matter so much. I mean, one of the things that we did kind of sort of fail to do here is get ourselves into a controlled orbit, but we'll cut this off, I think, at maybe 50 because, um, in case something goes wrong, that will give us the leeway to aero brake. And we will aero brake a little bit, but on the flip side, we will get very, very nice data out of this. So I'm just going to turn off our SAS so that even if we are spinning out of control, that we'll be able to get up out of this atmosphere. And you can see we are descending very slowly here. But it's all for a good cause. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the data here. When we hit pay dirt here, we should be getting, I'm hoping, um, enough data for this to really make sense. So let's just stabilize ourselves real quick. It should not take long at all. And now that we're back in, out of the atmosphere, then I'm going to go on a little EVA here. And the hope is that we can do an EVA report here, and that has scientific value to us. That has a good amount of scientific value. In fact, over 8. We could transmit that, but in fact, you know what? I think we will. Or, well, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should. We should get this thing down while we can so we can get batteries, because batteries will enable some pretty nifty experiments for us. We'll save the rest of this for braking, and we'll also deploy our chutes. Should we do this? Well, I guess review stored data. Can we get out of this again? Yeah, we're pretty high up. Let's go on one more EVA, see what happens. Or maybe not. Review stored data. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Let's make sure that we have our handy-dandy crew report. And hopefully by the time that we're done, we will have done everything that we need to do in order to maybe, I don't know, maybe unlock a probe. That might be nice. I mean, I'm not going to continue this in deference to the other series, I think. I'm going to play a little bit, offline and continue Let's Play KSP. But, I mean, I think nonetheless, it is a good, it is a good way of, I guess, thinking about. Everybody's been excited for this, and we hadn't even done the sub-assemblies yet. So let's review our data. See, I'm hoping that we will, I'm hoping that we will, be able to, let's just, whoa. Yeah, I forgot I have physics time warp on. It's not even really necessary, I guess, to do this. To see how much science we'll get out of this. Maybe, maybe we'll get something out of, the vessel. EVA report, crew report. I'll trash that. And we'll grab crew report. And that is actually quite useful to us. We'll transmit that. So now we know where Jebediah's house is at. Which is really quite handy. We'll use the... I've heard the cockpit views are a little bit improved, but... No, I'm not terribly sure about that. We'll just, we'll keep all of the data. Yeah, we are very slowly losing our fuel. But, I mean, on the flip side, I think we will be getting a lot of valuable scientific data out of this. Well, that's saying I'm going, so fast, I have no idea. We'll just give ourselves a very, very graceful landing. And that will be it, I think. We'll just recover that vessel, and hopefully, when we do, we will have enough data. We have plus 37 science. So 8, I think, is almost too much. But, we go back here and we look at this. Now we can afford two things. We can afford, first of all, a new, improved antenna that is going to be very nice. We don't quite have enough for flight control yet, which would be interesting. That means we could send out probes. But I don't want to really do probes until, really until we do, this up here. And also that we get our power as well. We have a thermometer we can run if we save up 90 science as well. That'll bring us additional scientific information. But we'll take this one because it gives us an improved SRB, which, to be frank, is nice. We'll go with that. And what have we got up here? We also have improved rocketry. That if we want to unlock this, we'll get side-mounted engines, which are a little bit less, are a little bit less effective, but this will allow us to build a better rocket. And then we will come down here. In order to pull this off, we need to get flight control as well. So anyway, this has been Thy Root, and I hope that you all enjoy KSP.22.